With the now familiar refrain that Africa is the next big growth pole, a number of bottlenecks remain, including attracting comparatively low FDI over the last decade. This Economist takes the matter on in an article penned for the UN's Africa Renewal Information Programme. Dr. Odusola, you write that Africa's experience of inward foreign direct investment presents us with a paradox. Why is that, and how do we remedy it?
Foreign direct investment is considered to be a paradox in Africa because conventional theory shows that investment goes to where the rate of return is highest. And Africa is considered to be the highest of all the regions of the world, generating about close to over 11% as a rate of return compared to the world average of about 7%. But if you look at the volume of FDI in Africa in terms of net, it's just about 1.87%.
He points out that despite the region achieving the highest rate of return at around 11.4% between 2006 and 2011, compared to the global average of 7.1%, Sub-Saharan Africa's net FDI stood at a mere 1.87% between 2010 and 2016. Europe comparatively attracted over 30%, East Asia and the Pacific over 26%, over 17% for North Africa, and 13.25% for Latin America.
There are a number of conditions that we need to look into. And first, we think with the kind of natural endowment we have and the cheap cost of labor in Africa, that could be a major propellant for foreign direct investment. But it's not always the case. There are a number of things which make doing business quite challenging in most African countries. The first is the issue of public capital, when we talk in terms of infrastructure, road, rail, air, and a host of other things. If it's not strong enough, the quality of public capital in terms of infrastructure is not strong enough, it adds to the cost of production.
Another impediment to attracting higher levels of investment is the region's low skills base and the caliber of its human capital, the quality of regulations and standards, and the cost of intermediation.
If you look at what is happening in most part of the world, is the lending rate is single digit. In most African countries, it's not only double digit, it's at the high end. In Madagascar, for instance, it's 60%. In Malawi, it's about 44%. So you can't compare with a country whose lending rate is about 5% or lower than that. So you will continue to work for the banking system if you go to banks to lend as an entrepreneur. So that's one of the factors.
So what are some of the obstacles facing a country like South Africa in particular?
It's still having a lot of challenges when it comes to the issue of quality of labor. That's one of the areas we have to invest in.
The skills issue.
The skill issue, because the South African economy is more sophisticated than the level of the educational system. What they need to do is getting those fundamentals right. You know that, okay, the issue of integrity matters. Once you introduce integrity, it increases what we call the credit rating. Once you increase what we call a kind of integrity in procurement process in South Africa, definitely is going to increase the credit rating of the country. Once you are able to do this and you ensure that the issue of corruption is reduced substantially, you'll see the way it's going to increase it.
He pointed to pockets of excellence in the economies of Ethiopia, Rwanda and Mauritius, among others, calling for the region to attract the kind of FDI proportion that better reflects the highest rate of return it continues to offer the world. Sherwin Bryce-Pease, SABC News, New York.